So, today let's dig into 6 benefits quickly, as always, that we have found that has been beneficial from hiring an ops person. And the first thing is streamline processes and efficiency gains. So, I mentioned a bit about this shortly ago, but when we are able to identify and eliminate inefficiencies, we can analyze workflows, we can pinpoint bottlenecks, we can make sure that we're automating repetitive tasks. All of those typically live on the CEO when you're relatively small, right? Because who else is going to do that job? And sometimes it turns out that an admin doesn't necessarily have the capacity or resource or experience to be able to take those up to the next level and point those out to us. And so having somebody in operations has really allowed us to say, the business as a whole, what could it use to get better behind the scenes? How can we move this forward in a way that doesn't necessarily require more hands, but just requires a better use of the tools that we already have? So, an example that I have is that we needed to automate things like proposals early on. And I had a system to do that, but there were still a lot of like manual touch points that were happening behind the scenes, to be honest, mostly because I just didn't have the time to learn how to do that better. So once she got more fully, engrossed in her role, she was able to see, hey, this is how leads come in. This is how we ultimately get on a call with them. This is how they get onboarded into the system. Where am I seeing those manual points that we could automate in a way that doesn't require that I am doing those tasks and also trying to make them better? So I will say now we've gotten that down to a really like pinpointed almost science of how we bring people in, but also making sure that then it left time for both of us to be able to provide that human touch that we know is so important in our firm, to be able to give that white glove service from the very beginning of somebody signing up with us. The next thing is enhance customer satisfaction. So, obviously, when we get more efficient and we can automate more, we also create a more smooth and consistent customer experience. And that is top of the list for Little Fish. Like, we want to make sure that it is always easy to work with and for us. So, internally, we want to make sure that team members are able to get to what they need to relatively quickly. And then externally, we want to make sure that clients are seeing what they mean to see. So when we are onboarding them, we talked about how some of those steps look, but also when we're offboarding, are we getting feedback and information that tells us what we did well and what we could have done better? What can happen throughout the year that she can take in as information from everybody on the team who's doing client delivery in order to take that back kind of to her workshop and figure out, hey, based on this, what are some of the things that I know about the tools and processes that I could potentially improve or maybe introduce a new way of doing so that it doesn't feel so manual for the team. So, an example is when we talked about having more timely responses to client inquiries. This also includes things like I can't log into the system or I need to figure out where to update my bank information. We don't want this falling on the account managers or worse yet on me to give them instructions on how to do that. So, she's really able to be able to stay integrated within the process with clients even after that initial interaction with her, to make sure that they're getting what they need throughout that isn't directly client related. This also, because as some of you might have found, whether you are an accountant like us or you're running a different kind of small business, clients who are unable to upload files or access files, how can we make sure that that doesn't get in the way of us actually doing the work? So, making sure that we do that quickly and with care improves customer satisfaction for everybody that works with us, which is always just a really important part of how we deliver our service.